closer. I felt like it was kind of quiet. It's no big deal. So
There's no way you were quiet.
I was. I could barely hear myself. Indeed. Okay. And I'm going to let you kick it off.
Hello.
Hi.
We're back.
Yes, we are.
Should we share our high and lows first?
I guess we kind of. Yeah, I guess we could.
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry,
we don't know what we're doing.
We don't. It's been a long weekend for us, but it was fun. It was a fun weekend.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, yesterday we got to go to the family day at IU. My daughter Ariel is a sophomore there this year, and my niece Aubrey is a freshman. So we went and watched the game, and it was a big win for IU. Yeah. So they are 5-0, which is unusual.
I don't even know if that's happened before.
I know.
I don't know much about IU football history, but they're fun to watch. They're good. They're legit good.
Crazy. And then church service this morning was amazing.
Yeah, yes, it was. Yeah.
So we're good. Besides that, so our minds are kind of racing. We're doing it later than on a Sunday. We never record it this late on a Sunday, so we're kind of thrown off. But God will work through us.
That's right. Yeah, wherever we are. So are kind of thrown off a little bit because we almost didn't do this today just because we're trying to get caught up and get ready for work. Krista's going to have a crazy week. I'm going to have a crazy week.
Yeah.
They're still dealing with the storm damage stuff. We didn't really get to talk about that because we haven't done an episode since, but a bunch of her school got blown away. Not last Friday, but the Friday before. And so everybody's been... It's already crazy to begin with, but now people are messing around. Everything's mixed up. People are having to share rooms. It's like all hands on deck, whether they want to or not. It's just
basically
all of that. So we didn't record anything last weekend.
No.
What was up last weekend?
Well, that happened last weekend. So the storm hit my school on Friday.
There was a reason we couldn't do it Saturday. I'm just trying to remember. Yesterday we were in just Bloomington.
I don't remember. I don't think that our minds were in the right spot for it.
Yeah, something was going on. I just can't quite remember.
We weren't in the right place. That's what I think. I posted that in our Facebook group. I said we're not in the right place.
Yeah.
And we weren't. Like I was.
Yeah.
I had no idea what the week would hold.
Yeah, when we do this, we want to do it right. So,
yeah.
Indeed. And so you came up with a really good plan the other night, just out of the blue. Kind of surprised me. This is not like you.
Yeah.
You were sitting there and you're like, hey, I have a topic for one of our next podcasts. And I've always got 3 or 4 things like in the pipeline, like something that I can take. We're like, hey, we can talk about this today. But something that I think is really, really huge in the world right now, and I'm really glad that you brought it up. The title of this is going to be called The Chase. I wanted to call it What Are You Chasing? She vetoed that, and it is now called The Chase, as you can also see by the album cover art that you're going to see on the video as well. And so, the core concepts stay the same, obviously. And so do you just want me to go ahead and just jump right into it, or did you want to talk about highs and lows? Or
No, I was going to talk about why I came up with The Chase.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
how that happened.
You can do that.
So first, it was everything that's going on in the news with certain celebrities. And, and then I watched, I've been watching this interview with Dennis Quaid about how he turned his life to God after going into recovery and everything. And he was talking about how he was always chasing something to fill a hole in him. And fame wasn't enough, money wasn't enough, alcohol wasn't enough, drugs weren't enough, women, and until he turned his life over to God, that's when that hole was filled. So he was chasing things.
Yeah.
And the only thing that could fill that void was when he turned his life to God. And he went on to say it's not that he doesn't have his lows. He still has his lows. But they're easier to navigate, and he doesn't feel like he's chasing things anymore. The chase for him is over.
Yeah.
And so with that, on top of what's going on with other celebrity news, with Kanye West being arrested and all the things that are going to come out there with other celebrities.
Did he?
Not Kanye West.
Not Kanye. Oh, my goodness.
I said it wrong. Whatever.
Take it back.
I'm not a celebrity person. Who am I talking?
Kanye's cool. Diddy.
Yeah. P. Diddy. Okay.
Kanye's still free.
Yes.
Yes.
With P. Diddy getting arrested, and we're starting to see maybe some, and it's pretty blatantly obvious too, that some basically sign their souls over to the enemy, and in order to get that fame and to chase things and to chase and fill that void.
Yeah.
And look, it's all blowing up now. They're never happy. They're always either on drugs, alcohol problems, getting plastic surgery left and right. So it's just another reminder of you think that, oh, if only I had this much money, I'd be happy. If only I had this many friends, I'd be happy. Mm-hmm. If only I had this job, if only my career would do this, I'd be happy. But all people who have achieved those things, who have said those exact same things, and then they've gotten those things, no matter how they got it, they're still not happy. And the only thing that can make you happy, because when you're chasing all the wrong things, the only thing that can fill that void in your life is Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's so true. And we hear the same story like all the time, and we're blown away every time that we hear it. I talk about it all the time, like the Solomon story. Mm-hmm. You try everything, absolutely everything, and in the end, he says all of this is vanity, or all of this is folly. It's like, hey, I tried all these things, well, I'm still not happy. Mm-hmm. It happens all of the time to people. I did the same thing. Like, I tried all of these crazy things. I'm like, well, if I only had this, if I only had that. And, I've never been a millionaire or anything like that, but I've been pretty well off, and I've also been extremely poor. And it's just, it doesn't make a difference. The only real difference is your relationship with who made you. And by the way, it should come as no shocking revelation that the person that created us designed us to where we have a hole that can only be filled with him.
Right. That's the thing. And it only makes sense that an enemy of the person who created us is also tempting us to follow him, and he can give you those things without faith. And
it's been doing the same thing since the apple.
Right.
That's what he told Adam, and he was like, God didn't mean that.
And it's starting to be more thrown in our face more and more if you open your eyes to it. Yeah. And things like 68-year-old actresses who have had so much surgery that they're not even recognizable anymore. That's chasing something because they have a void.
Yeah.
When you're happy with Jesus and you know that he loves you and all that, you're not going to do that at 68 years old. So, and they have everything that we would want. They have money, they have fame, they have, and that's what we're
all of the things
brainwashed into believing will make us happy, right?
Yeah, most people look at it and they're like, that would make me so happy.
Yep, and so many people out there walking around these days, especially, unhappy.
Yeah.
Medicated. And I'm not saying all medication is bad. Please don't think that. But Jesus Christ certainly helps.
When you depend on it for your happiness.
Yes. Jesus Christ certainly helps. Yeah. And that's just what I felt like the Lord was saying to me this week to talk about. So I think you have some biblical things to go with that.
Oh, yes, I do. I do. I tried. Middle name is Biblical Brian. I think
Biblical Brian.
That's a pretty cool name.
That is pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, so anyway, going off of the chase, I kind of just developed some, just kind of like just bullet points and just things that I wanted to touch on, just kind of a short outline. We like to keep these between 30 and 45 minutes or so. We've already spent pretty good time on the intro here, so I'm just going to go ahead and dive right in. So I'm going to be touching on several Bible verses, but the main one, and we'll dive into it because right in the middle of the chapter, it's out of context a little bit, so you kind of have to understand the story. But we're going to go to Philippians chapter 3 and verses 12 through 14. I'm just going to go ahead and read that out loud for us real quick. Verse 12 through 14, chapter 3. Not that I have already obtained this, or am already perfect, but I press on to make it my own, because Christ Jesus has made me his own. Brothers, I do not consider that I have made it my own, but one thing I do, I forget what lies behind, and I'm straining forward to what lies ahead. I press on toward the goal for the prize of the upward call of God in Christ Jesus. And so that is Paul talking, and we're going to dive into a little bit more. But basically, what he's saying is, I'm not worried about yesterday. I'm not worried about what I've done. To be perfectly happy, I'm going to keep continuing to chase Jesus Christ and His will for my life, because I know that's the ultimate happiness. That's what we're designed for. And whenever we say these things, I know people are like, well, that sounds super duper boring. So you mean for me to have a good life, like I have to follow God, like I just have to do that? That's not a very loving God. Well, you just have to look at it differently and realize that all those things that you want, that happiness, that peace of mind, the peace that surpasses all understanding, is the best way to, like, I've never heard anybody that's went through all this and looked back and they're like, nah, Jesus wasn't it for me. Like, it's just, it works, and it works by design. And so I kind of want to involve you here for just a few. So I want you to think about in your mind, and this is off the cuff too. I didn't let her know that this was coming. But tell me about like a personal experience or somebody that you know that was pursuing a difficult goal, like they were reaching for something. It could even be you personally.
I don't know about trying to reach a difficult goal. I know that, like, when I think about my chase, I think that for me, it was just chasing to make you better and to make you happy and healthy. And so when I had that void, it was expecting you to fill it.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a thing.
And and so in that process of chasing you to fill that void, it brought me down with you.
Yeah, where I was.
Where you were.
Okay.
I mean,
okay. Well, we'll leave it right there. Just a second, okay?
Okay.
So with that being said, what would have happened? Transition that idea into you pursuing your relationship with God with the same intensity and passion that you were trying to get me to be better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Because what changed on that night before I finally just got clean, right? Like, just finally, you hit your knees, right? I mean,
right. At that point,
I
did.
Pursuing him
I
instead of
did.
pursuing me.
I did. I started pursuing him instead of pursuing you to the point where that night, I did. And it was funny because they talked about it in the sermon today.
Nobles Darby's the man, by the way.
Yeah, Nobles Darby.
Yeah, shout out to that boy.
That when you're at your lowest, start worshiping, like turn to worship. Worship him. And I did. That's what I did. I've said that story on here before. I started singing Our God is an Awesome God, and that God came through. He's like,
it's therapeutic. I have a couple of go-to songs, like if I'm feeling down or discouraged, I just listen to him. And boom.
But I really did. Like, from the moment that we went back to church the first time, for the first time that we had never gone to church together, but it's the first time that I had been back to church in years. And from that moment, when I walked into that church, like, I don't even think we made it to the sanctuary before we both started tearing up.
Yeah.
And it was,
like,
I just knew at that moment that somehow, some way, I was going to be okay.
Yeah.
And it was solidified that night that I fell to my knees, because I felt like that was God saying, hey, do you know that we had that conversation in church that day that you came back? Do you fully trust me? Are you fully ready to surrender? And I did. And I knew at that moment that I was going to have peace no matter how things ended up.
And here's how amazing.
And so that's it, right? Like, he knew that I gave up chasing you to fill that void, and I put him in that void, and then he let me keep you anyway.
Yeah. And I'm still here. It shouldn't be, but I'm here. And what's even crazier, to like have God even dunk on us even a little bit more, is after you did that, after you hit your knees and finally did that, I stopped the next day.
Yep.
The next day. And anybody that knows me, I tried a million times. I tried everything. I was in so much trouble. It's like, if you don't know me, there's a ton of stories that would just absolutely blow your mind. But that's just how amazing that he is. And that is not a normal case. That doesn't work all of the time. It's always in his time. But me and you, we definitely went through it. I feel like we kind of, I don't want to say, quote unquote, paid our dues for sure.
Right.
You especially. Me too, just the toll that it took on my body, and just to see us now, it was seriously 514 days ago. That's it. It feels like a lot longer, but he just, It's unbelievable. I can't speak enough
And
about the amazingness of God in this.
Yeah,
It's nuts.
and when I look back, like, we would end up going to the bar so you use things to fill your void, and we ended up and you get some, and it fills the void temporarily, like,
Yeah.
and so then you, because it's so temporary, you end up needing more and more and more of it, like it's not enough.
You need more of the temporary.
So we went to the bar we ended up going to the bar way too much at one point, and that's exactly why, because it would fill that void for a little bit, but not long enough.
It was 3 or 4 days a week.
Yeah.
We're not talking running in for a quick one. We're talking like when we were there for an 8-hour shift.
So,
it was
and I think
crazy.
that's the way it is for anybody who hasn't
no matter what that is.
sought the Lord.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that unfold with people who we've thought had it all, right? We're brainwashed to believe that they had it all, and everything that everyone aspires to be, or just gets envious.
And what I've found is without that relationship with
and they're not. Like, my
nothing.
eyes have been really open to this lately. Like, it's just, people need the Lord.
Yeah, indeed. We've spent a lot of time on that point, but
Yeah,
that's okay. That's what we're here to do. And so something I wanted to kind of jump in about this is that verse with Paul right there, what he was talking about. So his relentless pursuit of being more like Christ, which, let's be real, in the Christian, I don't want to say religion. I hate the word religion, honestly. I do. Is the whole goal is to be more like Jesus.
Yeah.
Like all the time, people are like, hey, who's your favorite character? Like who should you try to emulate in the Bible? Well, there's a lot of them that are good, but there's one that like we're called to like try to be like that guy. Anyway, that's what Paul is doing, and he pursues it constantly, knowing that he hasn't attained it yet. Like, he knows that it's a lifelong thing, and it is a lifelong thing for all of us. It's called sanctification. But like, he's still chasing after it. And human beings, we don't do that. We'll chase after something for 2 or 3 days, and if we don't get a reward for it, we quit.
Yep.
It's like working out or a diet or something. Like, if you eat really, really good for like 4 days and you're eating a bunch of crap that you don't like, and you're like, I haven't lost a pound, like, what are you going to do? You're going to go back and you're going to eat a cake because you think it's not worth it. And
so much
you just gotta be
change,
smart.
so much instant gratification.
Well, especially today, and especially in this country.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can be happy quickly in a lot of, no matter what you're into. And so, there's just all sorts of stuff. And so something that we need to do, first of all, even some Christians, from our position, some people just don't realize we need to recognize the need to chase God.
Yeah.
Like, we need to wake up in the mornings and be like, all right, like, I've got to seek his face today. Like, I have to look after him. I've got to chase after God. And a lot of people don't do that. They're cool with the status quo. They're like, yeah, I'm saved. I go to church on Sundays, and I listen to some good songs every once in a while, etc. And then they just leave it at that, and then they just wonder why things fall apart.
Yeah, he can't fill your cup if you're not.
Right, and things can fall apart when you have a relationship with him. We're going to get into that as well. It is not sunshine and rainbows. If anything, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
The thing is you have the happiness and the peace, and you start building up the tools to equip yourself to deal with the crappy times, with the stupid stuff that's going to happen.
Right.
And so I'm going to jump to Psalm 42 real quick. And these verses I'm reading the rest of the time, I'm sure people pretty much have them memorized. But as a deer pants for flowing streams, so pants my soul for you. O God, my soul thirsts for God, for the living God. When shall I come and appear before God? And that is David just basically saying, hey, I need you. Like, I'm thirsting for you. And we talked about more than enough a couple weeks ago. That was our last episode. And it's just like, that's one thing I just love about God, is that no matter how much that you get, you just want more.
Yeah.
You want more. And he'll give you more. A lot of these worldly things, like, you want more, you can't get any more. Like, you're done. You're cut off. But in the spiritual realm, the more that you see God, the more he fills you. And just when you think you got him figured out and you're like, oh my gosh, like, you are so awesome, it'll do something else. It'll just blow your mind even further.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like a deer is thirsty for water, our souls must also thirst for God. And whether we know it or not, our souls do thirst for God.
They do thirst for God. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
Right.
And God's the only one who can quench that thirst.
Yeah, that's it.
But we are deceived into thinking that other things can. And then when we try to quench our thirst with other things, just like when you drink something, like they say, what, soda makes you more thirsty? What makes you more thirsty?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and salty things make you thirsty. That's what it does. You're just more and more thirsty, so you're taking in more and more of those things that are not God.
Right.
because God is the only thing that
And
can
they have
quench that
brilliant,
thirst.
all these companies have brilliant engineers and scientists that make you thirstier on purpose because you're going to sell more product. I mean, people dump their lives
And that's what the enemy does.
into making you want more and more.
That
and
is
more.
a.
Yeah.
We're not saying that the people who make the drinks are the enemy. We're using it as a metaphor.
Correct.
So,
Yes.
just to be clear,
Indeed.
we are saying
Popcorn's
the
not bad, but it
enemy.
makes you thirsty.
Yes. The enemy wants to make you thirsty, and because then you are constantly trying to quench that thirst with things that will not fulfill it. And the enemy says, "Oh, maybe this will help.
Yeah.
Maybe this will help."
Well,
No,
we're all thirsty.
God wants to quench that thirst.
Yeah.
The enemy wants to keep you thirsty.
Right. Keep you coming back for more stuff that is not going to fix anything. And I did that for a long time. As much as I drank, I don't know how I was thirsty, but anyway. Yeah, I drank a small ocean. And so anyway, we're created for a relationship with God. Like I said, we were built, we were designed that way. But distractions of life, the cares of life, all of that thing, it pulls us away from that pursuit. And like I said, especially in this culture, this day and age, where no matter what you want, you can get it. No matter what, and it doesn't take a whole lot of money to do it either. And so, how aware are we for the need for God's presence in our daily lives? Like, what are some idols that we chase? I'll tell you specifically, and I've talked to Pastor Andy about this as well. But as you know, I've been a diehard Cowboys fan my entire life. Dallas Cowboys, just obsessed, like crazy. Like nothing was getting in the way of that Sunday kickoff, et cetera, et cetera. And as time goes on, and I know I'm getting just, a little bit older. I'm 45, but I still love football. But my emotional well-being isn't attached to a Cowboys win. I mean, when they lost, I would be sad for like days and days and days. Now I get over it with a shower and a sandwich. Like I'm done. And it's just, so I care less about that. And it's not, I don't even think I care less about it. It just doesn't affect me the way that spiritual things do now.
Right.
And so that was most definitely an idol for me. Caring about what other people think about you, that's a religion, I'm telling you. And there's a heavy emphasis on that in our society right now.
That's exactly
That's why you
what's
see all these gorgeous teenagers, like people that are perfect looking, that are absolutely miserable because they think that they're ugly because they found some filtered person on social media. Oh, I can never be like that. It's like, what are you talking about? You're beautiful. Like, I don't understand what you're doing.
And the enemy is using that worse and worse too.
Yeah.
Like I said, those 68-year-old celebrities that aren't even recognizable anymore because of whatever they've done. There's one this week. I don't even know if you saw any of that, but she does not look like herself at all. The media is stunned. People are stunned. She's 68 years old.
I didn't see any of the news on that. You can say who it is. She's not going to come find us.
Shania Twain.
Oh, really? She's not looking good?
No, she looks great. Like,
doesn't
look like herself at all.
It's like, what?
It's crazy. Like, it's a crazy transformation. It's
Really?
It's like she got a whole new face. Like, it's weird. Like a legit, not just plastic surgery.
Yeah.
Like a legit new face.
Does she still feel like a woman,
And
though?
you feel like you've got to ask yourself, how miserable
Never mind, you didn't get it.
must you be at? How miserable must you be at 68? Like you're not even comfortable in your own skin.
Well, and there's a lot of pressure for them to look good too.
Right, I don't care.
They've looked good their whole life.
It's mind blowing.
She's
to me that
68,
we've
by
come
the way.
that far as a 58 or 68, maybe 58.
I think 58 makes more sense.
But mind blowing to me that's where we are. Like there's going to be a revival happening soon because people are so down because they have this void.
And they're what? They are thirsty.
They are thirsty.
Yes.
They are thirsty.
Yeah.
They are, I mean, it's becoming more and more obvious that worldly things can't quench your thirst.
Yeah.
Because people that we look up to, they can't even get it together, from people running the country to people who are just pop stars. They can't get it together.
Yeah, and that's on both sides, by the way.
Mhm,
Before
both
anybody
sides.
jumps out and starts barking at us about political
No,
crap.
no.
Like, that's on both sides, y'all.
Both sides.
So, slow down. Anyway, so jumping back, now I want to go to the nature of the pursuit. Like, what does that look like? And Paul is a really, really good example, besides Jesus, of somebody that you should model after. Paul is one of those guys. I love the characters of the Bible because they're all messy. They're just messy that get made right. And how do they get made right? Through that relationship with God and seeking after Him. David, Saul, and I mean, we can name off 100 Bible characters. But Paul Paul specifically, like he was like the OG of evangelism, I want to say, and this is a guy that never met Jesus in real life. He never actually saw his face.
Right.
Saw him on the road to Damascus, or heard him. I'm sorry, on the road to Damascus. But anyway, so the point is you got to forget about what is behind you, and you got to press forward, because there are some days to where, like to me, most days chasing God is super duper easy. I love it. I love spending time in His Word. I love doing those things. But there's days it's a struggle. It is, and that's whenever you know that the enemy's pushing back on you really, really hard, and so it. Chasing after God, it requires this word that I've been big on lately, intentionality. Being intentional, like you have to like put in your mind, you have to have a goal of like, I'm going to chase God, I'm going to find God. And you have to do that, because if you're just blasé about it and just go day to day and just let everything else come in, you will forget about that. You won't care, especially if things are going good
Right.
in your life. If your bills are getting paid, if your kids are healthy, if your cars are running, like all that, like it's really, really easy to forget about God in those situations because you have everything that you need, right?
Yeah.
And so it's all about seeking after Him, no matter the mood you're in. It's like you said, Nobles was talking about in the sermon this morning, like just worship. When things are going awesome, worship. When you're in
things are
jail,
going bad,
worship. When you have stage 3 cancer, worship. When you just absolutely everything. And it's not going to fix the day. It's not going to turn a frown into a smile, but it does something to your soul whenever you're honoring God and seeking after Him like that. That's the whole point of a relationship. It's like with your kids, with our daughters. It's, what do you want from them more than absolutely anything? It's a relationship with them. It makes you feel good to give them things and things like that, but it's more just like them sitting next to you and, hey, Mom, how you doing? God craves that with us, just to just have that relationship. So you're never going to bother Him. Spoiler alert, He doesn't sleep, so you're never going to wake Him up.
Right.
It doesn't really matter. People ask me all the time, like, when do you sleep? I say, I'll sleep when Jesus does. So not much. But I've always thought that was funny. I don't know why. And so this Christian life, it is not a one-time thing. It's not a you find Him, you're good. It's a lifelong pursuit.
Yeah.
You seek Him every single day. Every single day. And so what do we gain by pursuing God? And this is where I love it. And this is where like the basis of my ministry here comes from. He will give you the desires of your heart, and He will give you a good life. He will give you all the things that you need. That's not necessarily millions of dollars or 5,000 square feet or all the cars that you like or anything like that.
Peace that surpasses understanding.
Yeah, which is so priceless.
It's priceless.
Ask almost anybody's like, do you sleep like a baby? And I guarantee you, like 95% of people, if they're being really honest, is no, not really. They're worried all the time. They're stressed all the time. They're anxious all the time. They don't have good, rock solid, valuable friendships. That person they could call at 3 a.m. for absolutely anything. And that's been probably one of my most fun parts of this whole Christian walk is that.
Yeah.
Is that part of it. Because I do have a peace that surpasses all understanding.
Yeah.
I do. Even if things are going good, if they're going bad, I have that whole, worst case scenario, I get killed and I go to be with my Savior. That's a beautiful feeling to have.
It is.
It's completely attainable, and you don't have to pay anything for it. It's a free gift. That's what makes the gospel so amazing and just so beautiful. And so, again, it's not a one-time thing. Excuse me. It's a continuous pursuit all of the time. And so what do we gain by that? Right, circling back
he's
to that.
not a one-hit wonder.
No, he's not a one-hit wonder.
No.
He's not Hanson. And so, sorry, watch Hanson watch this and sue us. Anyway, Matthew 6:33 is what I was landing on. What do we have to gain by it? Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and
all these things will be added unto you.
All these things will be added unto you. Ask and receive. Seek and you shall find. That doesn't mean seek Powerball and win Powerball. Now, some people do. Good for them. Congratulations. That's amazing. But what he's saying is if you seek His kingdom first, and what His kingdom is chasing after Him, loving other people more than you love yourself, all of these things that you need or want in your life, He will give to you. He guarantees it. He promises it. He's never failed. He never will. He's never lied. He never will. So that is a promise of God to us directly.
Yep.
Pretty amazing, right? And so, so when we chase after God, we gain what? We gain Him, right? We just gain Him the whole way, His presence, His peace, His direction for our lives. And so really the whole point of this is I'm trying to encourage you guys to realign your priorities. Realign those priorities. I'm not saying dump everything and go follow them and, walk down 465 with a cross on your back. No, don't do that at all. That's insane.
The relationships with Jesus is personal.
So personal, right? It's different for everybody. Yeah, and God's just not an add-on. Like, He should be the center of everything in your life. And it sounds crazy. People are like, well, that's boring. That's fuddy-duddy. That's judgy. That's like all of this stuff. No, it's not, because when you do it and you experience and you taste and you see, you realize that nothing compares. Just nothing compares to it, right? And so what are some challenges and what are the rewards of this pursuit that we're going after? And so another couple of verses that I'm going to dump on you here. I know that I've been very scriptural today, and so I don't expect you to memorize these, but you should definitely look them up, look into them, etc. So,
what challenges have you had
with chasing him and going after him?
Make it personal first.
Well, it's going to sound absolutely stupid, because in the last 500 to 600 days, I have made leaps and bounds of like I feel like I should be further along in my walk, but other people would look at it and be like, you're insane. Like, you're very far along with it. And my challenges are patience.
Yeah.
It's just patience, because like, I want this ministry to blow up. I want everybody to hear about our story and for our audience to be bigger, people that need to hear it, and not audience for the sake of fanfare, audience for like, I want to help people that have been through similar things to me and realize that there's a way out. But I don't know, challenges, I mean, just like, having 4 teenagers, going to a work that is absolutely insane sometimes. It's crazy busy. There's a lot of pressure there sometimes, and you can relate to that as well. I guess just everyday life. But even I've gotten good at like not feeling too down or too bad about that, because a bad life here in America, like 90% of the world would kill for.
Right.
Like I've always said, no matter what you're going through, somebody would kill to have your problems. So as far as a challenge for me goes in doing this, I mean, I guess it's getting knocked off course because I'm such a creature of habit. I have a super productive, amazing morning routine. I get up in between 4 and 5 and do my reading, do studying, work out. Like, I have time with myself. I pray, I meditate. Like, that's beautiful. So I guess my challenges would be when I miss that, if I have to sleep in, if I stay up too late. If my routine gets knocked off in any way, shape, or form, I get weird. I can get crabby. I can get short. Have unneeded arguments with you that are just pointless. We look back at them and we're like, what the heck was that? What are we doing?
Well, we argue because I hate routines. I think they're boring. I don't like doing a routine.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, I'm the exact opposite. I think success comes from like doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. And then it does. You are crazy willy-nilly. And so I would... Oh my gosh, I couldn't do that. So anyway, I guess that's a challenge.
I can't have a routine at my job anyway.
I can't do my work. There's a million things that you can control that you can have a routine for. I don't have a routine for things I can't control. That's why I get up at 4, because I know the world's going to get stupid at 8. Well, yeah,
I'm not planning my day down in the minute.
That's not going to happen. I plan it down to as much as I possibly can. And you should.
No.
Anyway. That's a topic for another day. Yes, you should. No. Anyway, okay. Agree to disagree. Love you. All right. So Hebrews 12, 1 and 2. We're going to talk about the challenges and the rewards of this.
What about my challenges? You don't care about them?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead and talk about your challenges. Man, your challenge is probably not having a routine.
No. Well, maybe. Because
it is.
I think my biggest challenge is finding time to read the Bible. And don't say it's because I don't have a routine. I'm not getting up earlier. That's not happening. It's everything that comes up. Like, I get home from work, I make dinner, and by the time I make dinner, you're home. I think I just need to do it in the evening, and I've been really thinking about that lately. I have to fall into a routine of what time I'm going to be doing
stressful.
that. That's for sure.
Your brain doesn't work in the evening.
Yes, it does. I just can't have I can't concentrate on my Bible with a bunch of noise going on. I can't have a TV going on in the background. I just need it to be quiet when I do it. That's all.
All right.
So I just need to.
That's why I get up early. I do it before anybody else is up.
I'm not doing that. Okay. I get up early enough.
So you want me to shut off my TV and just sit in silence for 30 minutes at night because it's easier for you?
Why are we? What are you doing?
Just joking around with you on this
thing. I never said that. We have a pretty big house. We can figure it out.
Yes. He looks for it. Anyway.
Sorry for those who are just listening, but you should see my facial expressions. I'm sorry.
They can't. It's a video, so.
If they're listening.
What are your challenges, man?
I just told you.
Okay. Yes, the routine.
Goodness,
I know. Did I mention no patience?
Okay. So, and I think that, I don't know. I think challenges with a lot of people, too, is probably chasing the wrong things, and then they get deeper and deeper into sinful things to try to achieve those things. I didn't say that was my issue because I already filled my hole with the Lord.
Yes.
But I think that's a challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the bad things are always the shiniest things.
They are.
Like the ones that destroy you.
That's the way the enemy works.
The ones that destroy you the worst.
Those apples look delicious.
Look amazing. Yeah, mm-hmm. I know. Wish I could eat more apples. That'd be nice. Anyway, can I get to Hebrews 12, 1 and 2 now? Are we good?
You know what?
Yes, we're good. Okay. So anyway, let's go back to the Bible. All right, Hebrews 12. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the same, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God. So the point of that is that this pursuit of God, it has challenges. Jesus even had challenges in it. Yeah. Yes, thank you. But, that's exactly what Paul's saying here is that, Christ is our example of that. It's, I guess, and I think pastors do this all the time. You got to compare the Christian life to like a marathon. This is not a sprint. Yeah. There's tons of verses, I don't have them all off the top of my head, but about running the race and finishing the race and, finishing good, getting that medal, etc. And us as human beings, especially in this American culture, if it takes more than 12 minutes, we're not interested.
Right.
And that is where these routines are super duper helpful for me. And these habits is because, it may not seem like fun doing that for 12 minutes every single day. But when you do that 12 minutes for every single day over the course of a year, you've got an amazing, rock solid habit that will change your life.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, we have to run the race. And so, we got to persevere in knowing that the benefit of following God far outweighs the struggles that we're going to go through. You're going to go through struggles in life anyway, right?
Of course.
Why not have a perfect friend to be there with you? And, and not just to be saved for fire insurance or anything like that, but to do it because the relationship with Jesus is so sweet that you can't imagine. Just like I said, these last 500-600 days, I was thinking about this the other night in bed, just laying there, just pondering. I can barely remember what life was like without seeking God all day, every day. It's like, what was I doing for that long?
You were seeking alcohol.
Well, I know, you're right. Yeah, I was, but it just blows my mind. I'm just like, how did I go? Not just days, not just weeks, but like months and years, which is like not even caring about it at all.
I know.
It's mind-blowing to me.
It is, but the enemy had you chasing something else.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Right.
The point is, that's exactly my point.
Yeah.
You're chasing something that isn't going to fill that hole, isn't going to fill that void.
Right.
And you can spend years.
Yeah.
You can spend your entire life doing that.
Yeah.
That's what we don't want, though.
Even Tom Brady said after winning 7 Super Bowls, he said, I can't remember who the interview was with, but he was like, I can't believe this is it.
Right.
Like a perfect life. Like from the outside looking in, it's just like Tom Brady. Like, that's a life that people would absolutely kill for. And at the end of the day, he's like, there's got to be more.
Yeah.
Are you joking? But I mean, he hadn't even scratched the surface of like what's real. Because 1,000 years from now, nobody's going to care about Super Bowl.
The unfortunate part is some people, like the one who just got arrested, he was trying to fill a void and fill a void and fill a hole and fill a hole. But he was trying to fill it with so many things that it got very dark.
Yeah, really
and
dark.
We're going to see how dark it got, but I have a feeling it's pretty dark.
That list will be suppressed a little bit, but
pretty dark. Yeah. And that we don't do that. Seek the right thing that's going to quench your thirst, and He is the truth, the way, the truth, and the light.
Yep.
Completely. You don't want the darkness. You want the light. And I'm sure that didn't happen to him overnight. What happened was he got what he thought would fill that hole, and it didn't fill that hole. So then he started turning more and more dark because enemy had an opening. And don't let that be you.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that you're going to get that dark, but
it can get there.
It can get there.
I didn't think drinking would take it
Yeah.
that dark. I mean,
See
I
how
remember
dark?
I remember in my mid 20s, well, actually from the time I was young all the way up into my late 20s, early 30s, because by that time I was already drinking like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember just like looking, I was like, there is a 0% chance I'm ever going to be that addicted to alcohol. Like I could not imagine being in that spot. And next thing I know, like you could put my story up against just about dang near anybody, and the darkness that came with that, and just the things that I did and the things that I saw and was a part of, and just all of those. It gets dark quick.
Yep.
Is my point.
Yep.
And and when you hang out with God, like it gets light really quick.
And the enemy makes you think that that's what it is.
Yeah, because it was a blast.
That's
till
what
it
you
wasn't.
need. That's what you. Yeah. Right. It was a blast till it wasn't. Like that's what I said. Like, and then we would want to go back and do it again and again because the enemy makes it seem like.
Well, because you felt better.
Right.
Eventually, yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, and I just got to a point where I just didn't have hangovers. So everybody around me, they're like, "Dude, I'm exhausted. I can't do this." I'm like, "Get up, let's go, let's go."
And when you're in the dark, sometimes your eyes adjust. And you don't realize how dark it is, right?
Ask any bat. Yes. Yes.
Until the light comes on,
They
and
can
you're
see
like,
in the darkness. There's a
"Oh,
reason."
that was really dark."
Yes, and bats are just gross.
That's what Jesus does. Jesus turns that light back on for you, so you realize how dark it was.
Yeah, and that light that he has is much brighter than any darkness. I mean, it's not even close. You can't even compare it. Okay, so that's awesome. So we talk about this and we know this, just like we go to church, we have all this Bible knowledge, is head knowledge. Having all of this knowledge is no good unless you put it to actual real life use, right? Practical use. So what are we talking about here? This morning, I went to breakfast. There's a Bible study I do on Wednesday mornings at 6 o'clock on Zoom with 4 or 5 other gentlemen. And there were several of us. Once we finish a study or a Bible study or whatever we wrap up, it's usually 8 to 10 week series. We just finished Atomic Habits, which I've read that book. So amazing book, by the way. And we applied it to Christian principles. But we had a breakfast this morning, and one of my buddies named Chuck. We were going around and we were talking about what kind of habits we were doing, what we were doing to make them better. And I don't think he'd mind me calling him out on this, but he said a verse that I'm actually getting ready to use right now. And it's so profound and it's so true and it's so simple. And it's James 4:8. And it is draw near to God. And if you draw near to God, what will happen?
He will draw near to you.
He'll draw near to you. Isn't that simple? Isn't that like, can't third graders understand this?
You'd think.
You would think. Yeah, indeed. But us as humans.
We can't
we're
physically
so smart,
see
we're
it.
so smart, we're dumb. Yeah. And like, we just look right past it. Draw near to God and he will draw close to you. And so practical steps, daily Bible reading and meditation. That doesn't mean that you have to sit up there for an hour and a half with your special Bible hat on in complete silence and turn off your, but you need some solid quiet time with God, even if it's 10 minutes every single day. Start with 5 minutes. Like do that for a week, and just see what happens. And you'll see that you can't get enough.
Yeah, I spend time with God to and from work 30 minutes a day, but I can't read the Bible when I'm driving, so that's not happening.
Yeah,
that's where I need to get like
you listen
15,
to
20
it,
minutes.
But what I find is when I listen to it, it's good. I can listen to it, but you're not studying it. You're not soaking it in. You have to pay attention to cars that are on the road.
Right.
And so you really can't get too deep. But whenever we were going through all the 150 Psalms at our church, going through that 21 days, I listened to all of them and retained, I'd say probably 30% of it. I've read the Psalms before. But like you need that rock solid study time and meditation. You need a regular prayer life that's focused on communion with God. And when I say regular prayer life, I don't mean sit down for 5 minutes every morning and give him your wish list. Because that's the way most people pray. They're like, oh, hey, I need some money for the electric bill. I need my daughter to get an A on this test. And please let my car be okay to and from work today. And all right, thanks. See ya. Talk to you tomorrow. Like, that's not a relationship. That's one-sided.
Right.
That's one-sided. He's got no interest in that, and you shouldn't either. And so that regular prayer life consists of faith, knowing that he's going to give you what you ask of him, if it is his will for your life, if it's good, if it's a good report, if it's good, if it's loving, if you're loving on other people, he's going to give you the proper tools that you need to give you your best life.
You kind of brazed over that quickly, but loving other people is a big one.
It's the biggest one.
It's probably the biggest one.
That's our main job.
It's our main job.
Yeah.
And
Nobody's
God's
set
really
up
been
as one.
showing me that lately.
Yeah.
And I said that at our small group this week, because we always talk about what God's been teaching me. And God has been teaching me that it's more important now than ever to love each other.
Yep.
That is like the enemy is really working hard to tear us apart.
Tear apart families
Tear
specifically.
apart families as well. I mean, from the family to everything. We all just want to argue and fight about every
Some families ripped apart over some really stupid things.
And I think it's because the biggest weapon that we have against the enemy is loving each other and loving on each other.
Yeah.
And that's why he's trying so hard to tear it apart.
Yeah.
So
it's easy to see somebody's differences and think they're weird, but I'm weird.
Yeah.
You're weird.
It's
Everybody's
not just
weird,
about being
depending
weird.
on
It's
your
about
definition of it. Yeah, if somebody's different than you,
just,
congratulations. Everybody's
don't
different
care.
than you are.
I care about people's well-being.
Yeah, me too.
And you just that's your entire job. Like it's our entire job as humans. That's what separates us from. But even animals do. They do take care of their own.
Yeah.
But just having compassion and loving each other, and it starts with taking care of your family and loving your family, and protecting your family at the utmost cost, right? And then protecting our neighbors, and keeping them safe. And then, the people in high positions, it is their job to keep everybody safe. And to love it, in order to want to keep people safe, you have to love people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You if you don't have love for people, then you're not going to care about their well-being.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's where we've gone wrong on so many levels. And I think we need to come back to just love thy neighbor. He says it over and over.
Yeah.
For a reason. That's our purpose.
Another simple thing he says that
to
we just don't
love
get.
each other.
Yeah.
That's all he wants, is to see us loving each other and loving him.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's that simple.
And here's where people get it confused. People don't realize how, and I want to do a podcast episode on this, is how the backwards kingdom.
Yeah.
Here's why it's backwards, is because people, they think if I love that person more than I love myself, like I'm not going to get anything out of it. I'm getting nothing out of this. Here's the thing. When you put somebody before you, that's the definition of being what we call selfless. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, you're blessed twice as much as they are.
Yeah.
It comes back to you tenfold every single time, never fails. And so we've got it backwards as a species, I feel like right now, to where if we feel like that I'm pouring into you and I'm doing stuff for you, well, what am I getting out of it?
Right.
Like, yeah, your life's better. Great. Now, I just wasted an hour of my time on you.
Like
it comes back. It comes back.
Helping and loving each other should just come naturally, and I think it did.
Yeah,
I think it did. Several, even I would say 60, 70 years ago, people still were more loving toward each other, and it declined quickly. Mm-hmm. It's just, and I think it's going to come back to that. I do strongly believe there's going to be a revival, and things are going to start picking up. And I'm excited for it. I can't wait till we're out there just helping our neighbor and depending on each other. And God may be breaking some stuff down so we don't have a choice but to depend on each other.
Yeah. It definitely seems like that for sure. Yeah, and so just kind of going back to these, like, from a practical standpoint, how do you chase God more? Like, how do you chase God daily? You surround yourself with a community that encourages spiritual growth. Mm-hmm. And we do that. Our church is just amazing. We're bragging on it. Are we biased? Yeah, probably. But I'm telling you, I've been to a lot of churches in my life. I've been a part of a lot of congregations. There is something special that is happening with this church, and it's from the believers' obedience. Mm-hmm. We're nothing special.
No.
We're just a big group of people following Christ, but we are big. I'm the circles leader at our church. Like, we are huge. To me, small groups is where it's at. That's where you live life. That's where you love each other. That's where you develop those friendships of people that you can pour into and give more to them than you give to yourself. Yeah. And then the last thing I think I'll jump on is living in obedience to the Holy Spirit. And that sounds complicated, but my point is,
sounds like a bunch of rules, but it's not.
It's not. And what I'm getting at is that if you seek his face, if you draw to him and he's drawing near to you and you're spending time in the Word, Listening to the Holy Spirit, that is called discernment.
Yeah.
And what that means is when you are faced with a challenge, you have enough biblical, scriptural backing in your brain and in your spirit to where the right choice is obvious.
Yes.
Where you're not going to wrestle and be confused with, like, is this the right thing to do? God's going to give you that intellectual power and that spiritual power to know what is right and what is wrong.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that line's blurred, right?
Feel convicted where you need to feel convicted. He's going
that's the Holy Spirit.
to help you step out where you need to step out.
Yeah.
In faith. He's going to lead you to all those things. And that only comes from God. A fellow Christian can't convict you. A fellow Christian can tell you, you encourage you to step out in faith.
Yeah. But if you're feeling
but at the end
that's
of the
Holy Spirit
day,
convicting.
the Holy Spirit is the one who does that for you.
Yeah.
That's why one person can feel convicted over a certain thing and the next person might not.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's just the way it works.
Yeah. And the closer that you grow to Him, the more relationship that you have. All of us that are saved, we have the Holy Spirit living inside of us, but how much do we exercise that? How much do we listen? I was talking to Andy about this a couple weeks ago, and he just blessed me with a verse that he spoke over to me. I believe it was Isaiah 33:20. I'm close, but so just forgive me. But the whole point of it is once you start getting that close to God, you're going to feel, those little taps on your shoulder that you feel every once in a while, or like those gut feelings, those intuitions. That could absolutely be the Holy Spirit talking to you because you have that biblical foundation.
Right.
And so I have a challenge for everybody that's listening to this. If you're still listening, if you're still going here with us, and this goes for you and it goes for me as well. Let's commit to at least one step this week to deepen your pursuit of God.
Ooh.
Just one. It can be small. It can be reading your Bible for 5 minutes. It can be going out and doing something. Somebody that you know that is obviously homeless, give them a $20 bill. I mean, just do something for God that you normally wouldn't do. Step up that game.
Okay.
And I promise you that when you get that much closer to Him, you're going to be the blessed one.
Yeah.
So is the other person that is involved. And it may not even involve another person. This may just be between you and the Lord, right? And so, but just think about that. Like, I want to challenge everybody. Do one thing, one step, one, shout out to One Step.
Right.
I didn't mean to do that, but it happened. Just one thing that'll draw you closer. And this whole chase thing, we could talk about this for a long time.
I'm going to raise your challenge.
Oh, are you now?
I think you should share that challenge with somebody else so that that holds you accountable.
Yes.
Share if you want to.
I have a couple.
If you're brave, share it in our comments on wherever you're watching.
Yeah, you could do that.
Share it. What is your challenge? What challenge are you going to take? I will say mine. So I'm telling everybody, you're all my accountability partners. I am going to read the Bible every day for at least 10 minutes.
Okay. I will most definitely make sure that you do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Accountability partner.
Yes, indeed.
And the rest of you.
I have a couple of accountability partners, two super duper rock solid ones that I would say I talk to quite often. Yeah. And accountability partners are important because, I don't know, us as human beings, we don't want to let other people down. Like, there's this fear that we have of that, which we've talked about that in certain episodes as well. Yeah. But this whole chasing thing, we could talk about this for hours. I love it. This is a really, really good topic. Yeah. Thank you. You came up with a really, really good idea here. I love it.
Did you say what your challenge was going to be?
No, I'm here. Let me think.
Dish it out, but you can't take it.
Well, I know, but I haven't thought about it really yet either. I've already studied the Bible like intently, like crazy. My workout game's going good. Everything's pretty good with us right now. Like, what's one thing that I could do to just like step it up? I pray all the time. I'm trying to think something that I can do. How about
share your faith with a stranger?
Yeah. Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, we share faith with a stranger, which I try to do. There's opportunities that we all shy away from on that one for sure. So yeah, I could do that. Or we kind of got into it for a while, but then we got away from it. The U version, the Bible app, that is awesome. They have reading plans that we do. You and I are going to do devotions every night together. We're going to get back to that.
Oh, I bought that one book. I liked that book.
Yeah, but it's not a devotional. It's a book.
It is. It just didn't have questions.
I already read couple chapters.
Agree
it's
to
not
disagree.
A devotional. But it's a good book. Don't get me wrong. But I'm talking like a 10-minute Bible reading with some expository questions and just like things that will draw us closer. Is that fair?
Fair.
You can do that?
So I'm putting, that's your challenge. So you're in charge of finding the content.
I'll find it in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll find it in 30 seconds, man. Like, they have thousands of plans.
I just have to
They make
decide
it
which
very-
of my 3 Bibles I'm going to
They make it
read.
very easy for you, by the way, for those of you that are like, I don't know where to start or I don't know what to do or anything like that. Download, it's called YouVersion if you're looking for it in your either App Store or the Play Store with Android. Do that and just go look at plans. Everything that you're thinking, whether it's anxiety, love, fear, joy, wisdom, whatever topic you can think of, there's 1,000 plans on it. Like, you can read as much of the Bible or as little as you want. They make it crazy easy for you. And so just kind of wanted to throw that out there in the universe. So anything else? We'll be back again then. Probably again next Sunday. I'll be in St. Louis Thursday to Saturday at the CBMC event with my friend Chris. That's where we're going to be. So.
And my baby's coming home for the weekend next weekend. The first time she's been home since I dropped her off. So I'm super excited.
I will be at the
But on
Arches.
Sunday, her dad will be taking her back to school. So she'll be at her dad's on Sunday. So
Gotcha. So yeah, one way or another, we're going to record something next Sunday. I think I'm going to get a lot of material, like thinking, spending time with fellow like-minded Christian businessmen on Thursday, Friday, and half of Saturday before I come back home. And yeah, it's going to be good. So I'm really, really glad that we decided to do this. It would have been really easy to just say, no, it's already pretty late in the day on Sunday. And we kind of like to decompress and kind of mentally prepare for what we know the week's going to bring.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's kind of, I don't want to call it the real world, but, you know, the challenging world, I should say, outside of the comfort of our home. So anything else you wanted to throw in?
God is still writing your story. Don't steal the pen this week.
Man, she's going to trademark this thing.
I'm not trademarking it.
You
It's already
should.
look, it's on my shirt. It's not mine.
But do you know if it's trademarked or not?
I don't know.
Noble said something very similar to that this morning.
He did.
Yeah, you almost jumped
He
out of your
did
seat.
because I had the shirt on today when he said it.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah. Oh, boom. Yeah, indeed. Okay, all right. Well, it was good seeing you. Appreciate you guys so much. Oh, something else I did want to throw out. Should have put this at the beginning. I don't know where you're watching this. This could be from our Facebook page or whatever. We are on Facebook, YouTube, iHeartRadio. Like we have podcast format on all of these things. Conformed to transform.com. That's 2 spelled out, TO. If you're on a mobile site, there's no good links on there really to get to these different shared, but if you're on a desktop version of that, you can do it. We are on YouTube. Just search Conform to Transform. You'll see our logo. You'll see our face everywhere. But anyway, we are so proud and so glad to have you guys go along this ride with us. And it's been super fulfilling. Even worst case scenario, even if 2 people on the planet see this, we get a lot out of it.
Right.
Just from talking about the Bible and talking with each other, and gives us something fun to do together.
Yep.
2 years ago, if you'd have told me that we'd be doing this, I would have told you that you're an idiot. And so, yeah, but anyway, here we are. So thank you all. Really, really appreciate it and hope you have a great week.
Have a good week.
See ya.